Hey everybody, it's Andy. I have a confession to make. I've been in an unhealthy relationship. Let me introduce you to someone. I've had one about almost every day consistently for the last 8 years, and it's definitely a bad habit that I want to break, even though it's enjoyable because I know it's not very good for my body. Bad habits are really hard to break, and we're going to dive into the problem of bad habits, and you will get 7 effective tips that are based on research on how to break them. Dopamine is central into forming habits. We usually know this as like the happy chemical in our brain. It does a lot more. It really helps us learn routines and habits that are good for us and sometimes also bad for us too. The first part of a habit is the cue. That's the thing in our environment. It could be who we're with, what time of the day is it, what's our stress level, what do we see that helps us want a reward. The next part is the routine. That's the thing we do to get the reward, and then the actual reward at the end. So for me, the cue right now is seeing a Mountain Dew. The routine is opening up and drinking it, and then the reward is the sweet sugary taste I get soon after drinking it. So here are the 7 ways to break a bad habit according to current research. Number 1, reduce exposure to the cue that causes the bad habit. In Vietnam, there was a large amount of soldiers addicted to heroin, so much to the point where the United States was so concerned they developed a special unit just to treat these soldiers coming back from the war. What was interesting is studies found that when these soldiers came back to the United States, even though heroin is an incredibly addictive substance, 9 out of 10 of those soldiers addicted to heroin were no longer addicted. And the big reason was all of the environmental cues were removed when they came back to the United States. It was not readily accessible. They weren't around the same people who were doing the same thing, and they weren't around the same types of stressors in that environment. Unfortunately, what's also true is heroin addicts in the United States who go into rehab clinics oftentimes have a 90% relapse rate, which is sad because they go back to the same environment. And they have the same cues, like the friends that they hang out with, the family troubles, or whatever it may be. And so it's very difficult for them to avoid those cues. So if your cue is a sugary drink, make sure you don't have any in your house, or if it's temptation where you work, make sure you distance yourself from that. If it's sugary sweets, if it's smoking or things like that, make sure none of that stuff is around you, getting rid of the cues. If it's a person that you spend time with, reevaluate if that's the wisest person to spend time with, if they're helping you with an unhealthy habit, if they're providing the cue, or somehow manage that. So whatever the cue is getting rid of it, it's minimizing it. Number 2, to break a bad habit, replace the routine with another routine to see if it satisfies your reward. Remember, we have a cue, a routine, followed by the reward. So if you're at work and you typically at about 10 o'clock have a craving for a chocolate chip cookie, you walk down to the concession stand or the vending machine, you get your cookie, see if there's anything else that will give you that reward. Are you just looking for a break? Could you maybe, once you have that yearning for a cookie, try an apple instead, and will it satisfy you the same way? Or maybe your mind just needed a break and go to the water cooler and take a 5-minute break and grab some water. You might find out once you start trying different substitutions that something more healthy is going to work and give you that same reward. It turns out while editing, I skipped number 3. It's reminding yourself of all of the benefits of not doing that bad habit. So if you're trying not to go out to eat as much during the week, reminding yourself that you're going to be 1, saving money, number 2, giving you the opportunity to brush up on your cooking skills, possibly spend time with other people cooking and preparing meals, and number 3, it's healthier in the long run. And that could be enough to make our cues not as effectively strong to make us want to go out to eat the next time. Number 4, increase the amount of steps between you and your bad habit. Bad habits start with an environmental trigger. We have in our culture this idea that you just need more self-control, that you need more motivation in order to kick those addictions or kick those habits. But these people who tend to have more self-control or appear that they have more self-control simply don't put themselves into tempting situations where those cues or those triggers will happen to cause the bad habits. If it's checking your phone before you go to bed, it's moving your phone completely in the other room or even turning it off for the evening. If it's staying up late to watch TV when you should be going into bed, you could program your router to turn off streaming services or something of the like. Number 5, get an accountability partner. Find somebody that you trust, talk to them about the habit that you want to break, and make sure that they check in with you ever so often, because we don't like to naturally disappoint other people. So if you find somebody that you trust and respect, you can ask them to hold you accountable. And number 6 is creating a habit contract. The idea is to write down our goals regarding this bad habit, to avoid doing certain things, maybe start doing other things, and to make this a little public so people know about our goals and they know when we don't reach them. Sometimes that pressure is enough to get us to behave in the right direction and avoid some of these bad habits. And number 7, put the squeeze on the bad habit with a better habit. One of the things that I don't like to do is drink Mountain Dew. And it's difficult because it's almost a psychological addiction. Some days, even if I don't want it, I tend to go to it anyway. So I decided to start something new with my wife. We decided for 2 weeks to give up almost all processed sugar and keep it under about 25 grams a day. And as you know, everything has sugar. So the Mountain Dew went out the window, along with a bunch of other things. Well, that worked pretty well, and we'll have to see how things keep going, but the idea is only to drink a Mountain Dew on the weekend, and for the rest of the week, standard 25 grams of sugar, which really does not modify our diet too much, and the things that I do have to give up, I don't really miss that much. So putting the squeeze on a bad habit by overlapping it with another habit could possibly work too. To wrap up, if you're interested in reading more, all the information's down below. If you've liked this video, please consider subscribing, press the like button, leave a comment below, and this just lets the YouTube algorithm know that this is quality content, and it increases the chances that this video is going to be seen by more people and possibly help them out too. I hope these research-backed methods help you in disabling and dismantling your bad habits so that you can gain a lot more control of your life. And again, thanks for watching.